Last tutorial for your truss will be to set up a working drawing, set it up on a sheet, and be able to print it out. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to create essentially a new drawing sheet. And as this sheet loads up, there are a few things that we want to do with this. One thing is that we want to be able to set it up so it can print pretty much a large scale 1x1 sheet. You want to print a 1x1 sheet because then you can use this as a template in which to cut all of your wood from. So we'll just wait a second for this to load up. Okay, so it went ahead and opened up now, and what we want to do is we want to set our sheet parameters, and we want to get rid of a few things. So over on the left hand side where we see sheet 1, we just want to expand that, and we see our default border and we see our title block. Well, in this case we don't need either of these, so we're going to delete both. And where we have sheet 1, we're going to right click and we're going to edit our sheet. And inside our edit sheet we want to set this to a B size piece of paper, which is 11 by 17. So our normal A size paper is 8.5 by 11. We're going to make the 8.5 twice its size to 17, and we have 11 by 17. We're going to keep it portrait, and we're going to hit OK. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and bring in our truss. So in this case, here's our truss. It's a little bit different from last year if you haven't messed with it. So specifically, I'm going to just want the truss portion, and I want to set that at a 1:1 scale. You want to be careful here as I bring this in. I want to make sure I'm 1:1. I want to make sure I'm seeing the correct side, and I want to make sure I have enough room to place another view up here. So I'm just going to bring this a little closer to the bottom, and I feel that's good enough, so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now, a few things you might want to do with this. If you double click on this view, in the display options, you might want to change a few of these display options to either see hidden edges or no hidden edges. Depends on what exact detail you need to see to be able to create this. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put in my top truss. So if I go through, place my top truss in here, use the view cube to rotate it, make it 1:1, and bring it into place. And we're going to go ahead, looks good, and I'm going to hit OK. And then you can see here that with these two on here, I don't have enough room to place my bottom truss on there. So I'm going to go back to my sheet 1, and I'm going to right click, or never mind, I'm not going to right click anything there. I'm just going to go up to where it says new sheet right here. That's going to create a new sheet in the document, and I am going to bring in my bottom truss this time. I'm going to go ahead and make that a 1:1 scale, fit it on the page, hit OK. So now at this point I have two sheets, one that shows my truss, my top, and the bottom portion of my truss, and I can go ahead and print this out to the printer. So the next step will be able to go to the Inventor window, and I'm going to go to print again, and for the name of the printer you want to find Oplane 109 11 by 17. So first we want to make sure we're printing to the 11 by 17 printer. Go to properties, and then in properties it's very important that we change the size of the paper. So this 11 by 17 printer can print 8.5 by 11 paper, so you need to tell it which one to actually print from. So for the size, we want to change that to 11 by 17. You might have to scroll up to find it. So there it is, 11 by 17. Don't think we have to change anything else. We're going to hit OK. And then make sure it is modeled 1:1, that we're printing, in this case, I'm going to print all sheets because I want to print both 1 and 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and preview this to make sure. So there's one page, there's 2 pages if I click up here. So that is what it prints out. If it's cutting off at all, that means you didn't set one of the settings properly. So make sure you set one of the settings to 11 by 17 paper. You can go ahead and close this, and we are good to print then. So we can actually set this up and printed all sheets over to the 11 by 17 printer. Once you have printed, then you can go ahead and get it checked off with your teacher to get your materials.